Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the relationship between Oprah Winfrey and pseudoscience? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. So first I'll look at the background of Oprah Winfrey, move to the timeline of her relationship with pseudoscience, offer my analysis, then offer a story about the Oprah effect. Starting with the background. Oprah Winfrey was born in Mississippi on January 29, 1954. Interestingly, her name was actually spelled O-R-P-A-H, but people mispronounced it, and the name Oprah is what caught on. At age 6, Winfrey and her mother moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Winfrey had several traumatic experiences when she was young. She was abused by a family friend, cousin, and an uncle. She ran away from home and would become pregnant at age 14. She had a son who died shortly after birth. Winfrey did exceptionally well in high school. She was voted most popular girl. She was recognized as an excellent public speaker. She secured a part-time job reading the news on a local radio station. Winfrey went to college in Tennessee and studied communication. She worked as a news anchor for a television station in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1983, Winfrey moved to Chicago and hosted a half-hour morning show called AM Chicago. She eventually signed a deal with King World Productions, and the show was renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show. It was lengthened to 1 hour. The show became remarkably successful. At first it was a tabloid talk show, but then in the mid-1990s, Winfrey incorporated more substantive topics. She included topics like health, politics, as well as spirituality and meditation. The show would run for 25 years. Winfrey started her own production company and has been involved in a number of projects. She is incredibly successful and wealthy. At the time making this video, her net worth is $2.7 billion. Winfrey has donated a substantial amount to charity and been involved in a number of projects that have positively impacted society. Her relationship with science, however, has been one area where she has struggled. One could say that she has a poor relationship with it or a great relationship with pseudoscience. Either way is correct. Winfrey is one of the most influential people in the world. She has repeatedly been voted as such by many different organizations. A term to illustrate her power has been coined. It's called the Oprah effect. This refers to her amazing ability to sway the buying habits and beliefs of the population. Winfrey has promoted books, people, and ideas with incredible success. Over the course of many years, Winfrey has used her various platforms to give legitimacy to fantasies about paranormal experiences, satanic cults, extraterrestrials, New Age religious beliefs, false non-scientific cures for illnesses, alternative medicine, and magical thinking. Winfrey promoted or in some way supported a number of controversial individuals who themselves had made claims that are not supported by science. Let's take a look at some of the more controversial endorsements that Winfrey has provided. In the 1980s and 1990s, Winfrey featured episodes with celebrities claiming to be victims of Satanists. This played into a type of moral panic that was extremely popular at the time called satanic panic. This is where people believed that Satanists were conducting all types of harm to different people, including children. It resulted in false convictions and destroyed many people's lives. In the early 1990s, Winfrey promoted Deepak Chopra, a physician who promoted alternative medicine as part of his New Age beliefs. He told people they can obtain perfect health, never age, and never die. And he claimed changes in the level of consciousness can prevent cancer. Research has shown that Deepak's words of wisdom are literally indistinguishable from groups of his words that are randomly selected. In 1995, a man named Phil McGraw met Winfrey when she was being unsuccessfully sued for making negative statements about the beef industry. Phil McGraw would go on to appear on her show, and he started his own show in 2002 called Dr. Phil. McGraw has certainly been involved in his fair share of controversy, like there is concern about the way he treated Shelley Duvall, his understanding of how to treat addiction, and of course his undying belief in the so-called lie detector test. But overall, McGraw isn't nearly as concerning as some of the other people Winfrey has promoted. Lately, he's actually improved quite a bit, and I think has been more responsible. But either way, back when Winfrey promoted him, this was not always the case. In 2004, a man who goes by the name Dr. Oz appeared on Winfrey's show. She promoted a book written by him. He is a physician and energy healer who promoted alternative medicine. He appeared on her show 62 times. Winfrey's production company launched the Dr. Oz show in 2009. In this show, he pushed unproven cures for illnesses and psychics who could communicate with the dead. One thing I find interesting about Oz is that he literally uses the word magic. He talked once about how green coffee beans were a magic weight loss cure. So he is asking people to believe in magic. Oz has also promoted anti-vaccination nonsense. A research study found that not even half of his recommendations have any supporting evidence. Speaking of the anti-vaccination movement, Winfrey also featured Jenny McCarthy on her show several times. Jenny McCarthy claimed that her son developed autism because of the MMR vaccine, a false claim with absolutely no basis in science. In 2005, Winfrey promoted a $30,000 machine that was supposed to use radio waves to remove wrinkles from people's faces. The machine had potential negative effects that Winfrey failed to mention, like scars, burns, and agonizing pain. In 2007, Winfrey promoted a self-help book called The Secret, written by Rhonda Byrne. The secret is that people can change their lives through having positive thoughts or vibrations. If they have positive vibrations, this will attract more positive vibrations, which magically causes good things to happen to the person. The book makes several claims. Here are just a few. If you crave something hard enough, it will become yours. There's not a single thing that you cannot do with the knowledge in the book. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are, the secret can give you whatever you want. I'm seeing a theme emerge here. The book claims it's based on science, even though science is no way involved in The Secret. It should have a little sticker on the front of the book that says, "Now with no science," or "Science-free." That's pretty popular on food products like cholesterol-free, sugar-free. Here we have science-free. Byrne cautioned that rationalism can neutralize the magic. So if somebody starts thinking logically, they may not believe in magic. I'm not sure that needed to be stated. I think that seems pretty clear. I would think that neutralizing magic would be a good thing. I think what the book's really saying is don't think too much, which of course is rarely good advice. Winfrey also promoted James Arthur Ray, a self-proclaimed spiritual guru who was convicted of 3 counts of negligent homicide in 2011 after 3 people died in a 2009 sweat lodge exercise he was conducting in Arizona. In 2008, Winfrey promoted the self-proclaimed spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle, which caused his book to sell millions of additional copies. When she was promoting the book, she said, "God is a feeling experience, not a believing experience. If your religion is a believing experience, then that's not truly God." This caused outrage among many people who hold religious beliefs. Eckhart's position is decidedly anti-science. He once wrote that thinking has become a disease, suggesting it should be replaced by the inner energy field in one's body. Once again, we see this theme that thinking is bad, and trusting people who offer no evidence that they should be trusted is somehow good. Now moving to my analysis. Oprah Winfrey is somebody who has a lot of strengths and who has made a number of positive contributions. It's confusing to many why she is so invested in pseudoscience. I think this just goes to show that somebody can be smart, successful, and personable, but that does not make them immune to less than logical thinking. Winfrey was not able to separate what she needed to believe from her interview style. She wanted the audience to believe something as opposed to presenting the facts and letting people decide for themselves. She was a true advocate of the pseudoscience peddlers who came on her show. Winfrey's show often had a positive tone, and I think she had a real desire to maintain that, even if reality wasn't as positive. There was a desire to deliver a message that would inspire people, give people hope. But that type of thinking can turn non-productive very quickly. It can take the form of fake remedies for illnesses, New Age nonsense, psychics, moral panic, and anti-vaccination positions. It is not harmless to think this way. I don't think it would matter too much in most instances, but Winfrey was incredibly popular and continues to be popular. So her behavior really helps people to justify irrational beliefs. People look at Winfrey and say, she's one of the most successful and popular people on the planet. If she endorses something or even fails to condemn it, it must be a good idea. This tendency to believe people who manifest notable positive attributes is called the halo effect. One could argue that the Oprah effect is a version of the halo effect. Winfrey used her tremendous power to upend the natural order of how people become popular. She promoted people who otherwise would have been forgotten in an instant to levels of unparalleled fame. Winfrey should have taken a page out of Spider-Man's book. With great power comes great responsibility. So to wrap up this video, I wanted to offer a quick story about someone I met who was on the Oprah Winfrey show. As always, when I'm talking about things I've experienced in my career, details are changed to protect the innocent. So a while back, I was consulting to this place, and they wanted to bring someone in to train the mental health staff in another area not related to mental health. The place wanted me to interview a few people so I could select one to conduct the training. There were only 2 candidates that really stood out who were both available and qualified at the time, but I needed to pick one of them. So I had a phone call with each one, like a mini interview, really just to see which one was a better fit for this particular training. I interviewed the first person. They seemed to know what they were talking about. When I went to interview the second person, it was a man who had years of experience in the field. I'm just going to call him Fred. He was already in business with the agency in another way, the agency I was consulting to. They were familiar with him. Fred opened the conversation by saying that he had been on Oprah. He said this even before he said his name. He was like, "Hi, I have been on Oprah." And I was like, well, that's good. So moving on, let's talk about this training. But Fred just kept going back to the Oprah thing over and over, like he wouldn't let it go. It's like, I get it, you're on Oprah, that's wonderful, but we need to keep the conversation moving forward because I have things to do. My understanding is he was on the show just for a minute or two, but it was like the crowning achievement of his career. It really was all he talked about. I ended up selecting the first person I interviewed instead, and the training never actually happened because she had to cancel due to an emergency, and after that, we didn't need to do the training because it was rolled into another training that was already scheduled, so it all worked out in the end. Sometime later, I was talking to Fred about another project, and he asked about how the training went. And I told him the story. I said, well, that person couldn't make it, and it worked out anyway. I explained it all. He said, well, that's why it's a better idea to pick people who are on Oprah instead of somebody off the street. So in his mind, all people were either on Oprah or not. And that is what made people different from one another. That was the major distinction in the human race. I found this kind of funny. So I said, look, I noticed you mention Oprah a lot. And then I had to wait about 4 minutes while he talked about Oprah, just again, like on and on. I said to him, you realize that she ran a television show, right? If you were on there, that just means that somebody selected you to come on the show. It's not really exactly an accomplishment, although it's certainly something that could give you a lot of exposure, and it would be an interesting experience, but I wouldn't want to confuse that with something that was truly an achievement. He said to me, that's right, she chose me. I'm one of the chosen ones. So, of everything I said, that's all he really heard, was that Oprah selected him, even though it also could have been somebody that worked for Oprah that selected him, but to him, Oprah Winfrey had chosen him. I think this demonstrated to me that the public is not the only group under the Oprah effect. The people who were on the show, the ones she promoted, probably often believed they were actually special. In a sense, Winfrey emboldened them. She made them more confident and self-assured. Winfrey helped create a whole group of people for whom the line, I have been on Oprah, is a statement, in their minds at least, which eclipses any of their achievements. Those are my thoughts in the case of Oprah Winfrey. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be interesting. Thanks for watching.